Let's try this new fucking, I shouldn't update. I was wondering, I wonder if I trolled Tony. Tony, you think Tony got trolled? You said how I acted angry at Tony? That's called a troll. Tony's like, oh my God, that dude's pissed off at me. What's up, Skippy? I was doing the poll. All right, I was doing the poll. How you doing there, Alan? What do you mean by that? I don't understand, man. What do you mean? Hold on, I was also getting this on now. Listen to this.
Done a press conference in quite a while, longer than he's ever been since 2015. And so the question arises, is he having mini strokes? You got a lot of theories out there right now about his health. everybody sort of understands that they're hiding something when it comes to his health. The question is what?
What?
And so it might be mini strokes. I'll break that down for you. Then we'll get to Trump plans a luxury resort in Gaza after the genocide and the ethnic cleansing. This is openly being discussed because we live in hell. Then we'll get to Israel has done another terrorist murder spree, this time in Yemen, and they've gone after the Houthi prime minister and his entire cabinet. We'll talk about that. We have an absolute revolt and rebellion happening at the CDC right now, with RFK Jr. pissing off everybody in sight, which is leading to mass resignations of important experts. We'll get to some new Epstein emails that dropped. That one's fun. And then later on, Joe Rogan is absolutely panicking because I think he realizes
What is, he's realizing blah, 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 blah.
that Mark Maron's crusade against him is working. That now, little crew over there in Austin, they're no longer the cool kids. In fact, they're pretty fucking lame. So Mark Maron is having quite an impact here. And we love to see Rogan squirm. We love to see him squirm, and that's exactly what happens. So we have all that and more. You guys know the drill. Everybody, please do me a big favor.
All right, so that there is, if you don't know, that's Kyle Kalinske. All right, so what do you think, folks? The CDC is a distraction from the Epstein files. Release the files. Vote below. What do you think, right? It's just a ploy. You have to understand that it's just nonsense. It's serious nonsense, but it's a way to get the media off Epstein files. It's a way to get the media off of the other nonsense. There's hey JS. Up the phone. We're gonna code. We're coding. Look, I got a new speaker. We're gonna take my new speaker with me, charge it up, take this in here. Let's go. It's too hot to fucking work outside. I'm sorry, Dean. I don't know how all you people who think that actually looks a lot better. Look, I cleaned up this area here. Look at my frogs. Frogs. Look at the little frogs living in there. That was my chicken. Look, I put those little things on top. I think you can eat those, can't you? Can't you eat those? How's it not nice? All right, moving in. I think my son left his. Yeah, he left his. Oh no, there's no. My wife didn't make. My wife. Is this thing on? Yeah, it's on. Let's listen to Kyle.
Subscribe to the channel. It helps out big time. It costs you nothing. Support the show on Patreon. $2 a month, $5 a month, $7 a month. It goes a long way. And thank you to everybody who does support on Patreon. It makes a world of difference. You have no idea. Because remember, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read before. Never talked to a billionaire. Never talked to a government. Never talked to a PAC. Never talked to a think tank. None of that crap. It's all funded, and the default ads on YouTube, and you guys make that possible. So thanks again for that. Also support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. Have a lot of great interviews. Try to do them every Monday at 8 on, away from the cameras, for longer than he ever has been since 2015 when he came onto the political scene. That's a fucking decade ago, guys. That's a decade ago. He's hiding from the cameras. No press conferences. Most importantly, no talking to the cameras. All we get is these like photos from a distance, which look like those old pictures of like when you spot a Sasquatch in the woods. Some paranormal investigator has a picture of a Sasquatch from like 300 yards away. That's all we have now when it comes to Trump within the past week or so. So I forget, was it Tuesday or Thursday? You guys tell me, put it in the comment section. Last time he was in front of cameras, it was either Tuesday or Thursday. And since then, he's been gonzo. He's been out of here. And everybody is sort of speculating, and everybody sort of acknowledges, yeah, something's going on with his health, and they're hiding it for a variety of reasons, not just the fact that he's been gone. But now we have at least one theory as to specifically what's happening. So he's going to lay it out here for us. He says the following. I believe there's growing evidence that the White House is covering up the fact that Donald Trump has been dealing with TIA strokes, TIA strokes, and that he likely had a more significant ischemic stroke this week. So let me just point out, TIA strokes, those are mini strokes. So this guy's saying he's had a bunch of mini strokes, recently, and now he just had an ischemic stroke this week. Okay, here we go. Let's start with the basics. TIAs are temporary blockages. You'll see symptoms like leg dragging, eye drooping, etc., but they resolve within 24 hours. Ischemic strokes leave a lasting impact but can range dramatically in scope and severity. TIAs precede an ischemic stroke in about 30% of patients and often result in long-lasting interventions to try and prevent any risk of a larger stroke. Now let's get to what paints this picture with Trump. So that's interesting. So in other words, he's had mini strokes, and so there was a 30% chance he was going to have a bigger stroke, and this guy's saying it looks like he may have had a bigger stroke. Okay. In March 2024, Ron Filipkowski notes that Trump has been dragging his right leg for a while. It's something we've seen him do on and off over the past year, but not super notable on its own. So this video, I've seen this one before. This one doesn't look that crazy to me, but I've seen other videos of him dragging his leg more than this. So he does his little dance, and then he goes to walk, and you'll see the right leg being dragged right there, yeah. And there are multiple videos of him doing this at different times. This is one of the earlier ones from 2024 from Ron Filipkowski. Then in a Time magazine interview from right after the election, we see the first note of Trump's hand bruising. So this is right after the election, we see the first hand bruising. Once again, something people didn't think much of at the time. It comes up again during the Macron visit on February 25th, 2025, where Carolyn Levitt repeats the lie about it being from shaking too many hands. So here's, again, this is February, and he's got these bruises on his hands. February, okay. The next medical event we see is the president's annual physical report. Comparing the medication list to his old reports, we notice 3 new medications. Rosuvastatin, ezetimibe, however you pronounce that, and daily aspirin. Okay, so these are new. At first, I thought this might be normal medication for managing cholesterol, and I've certainly heard of preventative aspirin used in the past, but I decided to interview some heart specialists, and I'm glad I did. There are 2 general takeaways I've heard from multiple specialists. Daily aspirin is not recommended for prevention anymore. An aspirin regime is to treat something. Ezetimibe is a second-line medication not used for regular LDL treatment. That's cholesterol. Statins like rosuvastatin will manage cholesterol alone, whereas ezetimibe will be used as a second line if the patient is at high cardiovascular risk, such as prior strokes, heart attacks, or arterial disease. Then it's used for stroke prevention. Trump's previous medical reports claim his cardiovascular health is great and is on the statin, so he shouldn't need ezetimibe. But this also brings us to the aspirin. As it turns out, aspirin hasn't been advised as a daily course prevention method for a while. Daily aspirin no longer recommended to prevent heart disease. Some old doctors may still incorrectly prescribe it as such, but qualified medical staff who keep up with literature wouldn't. A daily aspirin dose is now used as a blood thinner for specific lines of treatment, including in managing ischemic strokes. Then in June, we see Trump's swollen ankles, and for the first time, the White House medical team is willing to admit he's got CVI. That's chronic venous insufficiency. His bruising is related to aspirin regime and shaking hands. They keep coming back to this claim, as aspirin does indeed make bruising easier. There are 3 problems with this claim. 1, bruising is seen on both hands, not just his dominant hand. So he had a bunch of bruising on his right hand, and then here it is, we saw it on his left hand when he went golfing. This is about, I want to say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. The next problem, CVI is not a sudden onset issue, and swollen ankles is an intermediate symptom. An annual physical in April would have caught CVI back then if ankles were going to be swelling, and aspirin isn't a CVI treatment. But third, some of the bruising is monthly, usually around the 24th. Check the dates. It seems much more likely that the president is being monitored monthly for something and then also occasionally getting an emergency IV as well. So what does all this mean? When a patient has had a TIA, they have temporary symptoms, but would be started on aspirin, rosuvastatin, and ezetimibe to prevent future ischemic stroke risk, just like we see with Trump. The patient having a TIAs may have temporary symptoms for 24 hours afterwards, including face drooping, leg dragging, or trouble walking in a straight line. So here's Trump. And everybody was showing this interview. This is when he went to the Putin meeting in Alaska. He struggled to walk in a straight line. Watch, here we go. Watch this. They sped it up, of course, but look, as you can see, he's like sort of wobbling all over the place. Left, right, left, right. This is one of the symptoms of a mini stroke right here. Patients who experience very mild strokes that are not TIA, such as lacunar stroke or minor ischemic stroke may have persistent but barely noticeable symptoms, causing drooping of the lip, eyelid, and eyebrow, which would be on the same side of a leg dragging symptom. So here it is, and you can see a little bit of a droop. Okay. And I think his features, you guys tell me if I'm reading too much into it, but if you look at his features here, compared to, what it was in 2015, 2016, there is like significantly more droop. Now, that could be because perhaps he lost a little bit of weight, and at this age, like your skin doesn't really get right back into place, so there's just droopage there. That's possible, or it potentially could be something more. If a patient under White House level medical care was seen having a stroke, they'd be scanned to rule out a hemorrhagic with the White House portable MRI, and then could receive alteplase, a clot-busting peripheral IV often given in the hand for elderly patients. If that patient was on aspirin for cardio risk management and or potential calcium blockers, we'd expect bruising of the hands and swelling of the ankles. Well, that's literally exactly what we have. So here's swelling of the ankles, and here's bruising of the hands. If they had a mild ischemic stroke, we'd expect the patient to be on bed rest for 24 to 48 hours, by 2 to 3 days able to take small or assisted steps, and the patient may have facial droop, flatter facial creases, or their mouth agape due to facial muscle weakness. Okay, when I read this the other day, this was the one where I went, all right, this guy might actually be onto something. And I'll show you why. Again, read this one more time. If they had a mild ischemic stroke, so that's what he's saying Trump probably had, we'd expect the patient to be on bed rest for 24 to 48 hours, by 2 to 3 days able to take small or assisted steps, and the patient may have facial droop, flatter facial creases, or their mouth agape due to facial muscle weakness. And look at this picture. This is one of the pictures that just came out of Trump, where the press pool was like really far away because they weren't allowing them near him, and they took pictures. Now, another interesting thing about this day is that they made it seem like Trump was going to go play golf. But all that happened was we got this one, just a couple pictures from when he gets into the car, or into the truck, the SUV, and then he, I guess, drives around, goes to the golf course, but there's no pictures of him actually playing golf this time. Every time he plays golf, there's always pictures of him actually playing. This time, there were no pictures of him actually playing. In fact, what's happening is the Republicans are recycling old pictures from when he played like weeks ago, or in some cases, they're using pictures going back to 2023, and they're using pictures of him in Miami, because you see palm trees everywhere, as opposed to in Virginia, which is where he would have played. So when you look at his face here, you tell me that doesn't fit the symptoms. That face does not look like Trump's normal face. It looks like something happened to him. And this guy's analysis, I don't know, it kind of adds up. It kind of adds up at the moment, if I'm being serious with you. He continues, even though they could walk at this time, speech and complex motor skills may still be recovering. And we notice Trump has oddly kept the press pool very far back from the White House and hasn't allowed them on the golf course. We also noticed that he was dressed the same as the last time he went golfing with Kai, and that MAGA influencers were given an old picture to circulate from January and his other golfing picture from June 27th. So again, they're all posting, President Trump he's out, he's playing golf, he's great, and they're using old pictures. Those same influencers were circulating a video of him in the same outfit, but that one came from June 29th this year. Of him from today, from afar, with continued face droop, he once again spoke with no reporters before going golfing. And both times, reporters were confined to the tennis court out of view of his course instead of letting them take pictures like normal. None of this even gets into the other weird events this week, like J.D. Vance saying he's ready to, quote, take over, or his social posts seeming like they were written by interns. That's actually, now they're talking about Trump's social posts seemingly were written by interns. They're trying to copy Trump, but it's not quite right. Something's a little off with how they sound. So it's not actually Trump. It seems like it's not actually Trump. All right, more. But the motive is clear. They know Vance does not have the same hold over the base of the party nor the Republican Congress. If Vance was president, the administration would get far more pushback Under a normal administration, a president having repeated TIAs wouldn't be removed from office, but even a moderate ischemic is likely to impact mental faculties and merit the 25th Amendment being invoked. Vance and Miller know that their federal power consolidation requires continued implementation leading up to the midterms, and Trump's own ego will mean he never lets go willingly. So unless the White House can provide transparent explanation of his health that better fits these circumstances, I'm forced to conclude that they are lying to the American people and hiding that Trump had a stroke. It's time for the press to push on this and get clarity. So we absolutely need the press to ask this exact question. Exact question. He's saying he had a bunch of mini strokes, and now he had a mild ischemic stroke. And the symptoms are clear enough where if he were to talk to the press, you could tell something's off, right? Jake Tapper, where's your book on this? Jake Tapper, where's your book? Other people in the media, where are you? It's kind of crazy that there's already been so many signs of massive health issues with Trump, and the media hasn't asked dick about it. This is the same fucking scenario. I mean, everybody made a big deal when it was Biden, but the cover-up under Biden was more the Democratic staffers around him that were trying to cover it up. And then eventually, by the way, the Democrats all were like, yeah, you know what, it's time to move on. They waited till the last minute, but they said, all right, you can't be the one anymore. So with some degree of accountability. On the Republican side, it's not just, Trump's Republican sycophants and staffers around him. It's also the media is not really digging that deep on this. They're not asking questions. Meanwhile, the internet is ablaze with people going, is homie still alive? Like, what's going on here? What is happening? He's never been away from the cameras this long, ever. All right, but we're still not done. So now let me show you this. The new picture of the president with Coach John Gruden is from August 23rd, not today. What's going on? So Trump shared a picture of him golfing with Gruden, but the picture, John Gruden had tweeted about it on August 23rd because that's when he golfed with Gruden. Trump was pretending like it was just the other day, or should I say, Trump's staffers were pretending like this golfing with Gruden just happened the other day. It gets fishy, bro. It gets fishy. There's a massive cover-up going on. All right, we got another one here. Ready? So this was on TikTok. Somebody has an interesting story to share about what happened at Walter Reed.
So somebody just commented this on my last post, and I want to know if anybody has any other confirmation about this. They're saying they were at labor and delivery at Walter Reed, which Walter Reed keeps coming up as a reason why he was maybe staying in D.C. this weekend instead of going to Westminster, New Jersey. Walter Reed is in Bethesda, Maryland, which is right outside of D.C. So on Thursday, they were at labor and delivery, and Melania was there randomly taking a tour, roaming the halls of Walter Reed in labor and delivery, and none of the nurses there knew why she was there. There was no, nobody, the staff was confused as to why she was even there. I mean, this is obviously a valid point, would she even be there visiting him? But the fact she'd go visit any hospital, and it wasn't like a press thing, a PR photo opportunity, is very weird. But that's another piece to this really weird, bizarre puzzle of what is even happening. I mean, I don't think she's there for affection. I would think she would be there for this confirmation. And the joy of seeing him hooked up to machines. She would get a lot of joy out of that. But if you guys didn't see any other confirmation about him being her being at Walter, about her being there on Thursday, anybody else have any sightings? Because that is very bizarre. The fact she's even in DC. Does she even, usually I thought she stayed as far away as possible, in New York.
Then we also have this. J.D. Vance, Don Jr., Melania, Ivanka, and Tiffany haven't posted in over 2 days, which is unheard of. As they say, Melania was spotted at Walter Reed, and Donald Trump hasn't said a word about his friend, Rudy Giuliani. I don't know if you guys saw this. Rudy Giuliani apparently got into a big car accident. He's in the hospital. He's got real serious injuries. So he's not looking good for Rudy. They had some bullshit part, he tried to save a woman who was being assaulted domestically, and then he got into a car accident. Whatever the story is that they're making up here, no, I'm sure this had something to do with him trying to get a sex worker or something, and, whatever. He was doing some fucked up shit, most likely, and then he got into a car accident, a really bad one. Trump hasn't said shit. He also said good night. He tweeted good night at 9:54 yesterday. Meanwhile, this is a guy who's always stays up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Something's off, bro. Something is very, very off. And so, when you put everything together, the fact that you have, I don't know why J.D. Vance said those cryptic things this week, where he goes, hey, I have full faith and confidence in the president's health, but if I need to step in, I'm more than ready with all the on-the-job training that I had to do. Why are you talking about that now? You're talking about that now at the same time he disappeared from the public eye for
準拠した信頼性の高いブローカー、インクマーケットと連携し、ブロックトレードの市場に新たな価値を提供します。取引は仮想資金の入ったデモ口座からスタート。評価フェーズで利益目標を達成すれば、主銀提供口座にアクセス。そこで得た取引利益に最大 90% を出金可能。成果に応じた報酬を自分のペースで受け取ることができます。すべての取引はシミュレーション環境で行われるため、自分の資金を使うことなく始め。
The longest he ever has since 2015, and now we get all these this speculation about his health, and you guys know, just like anybody who pays attention, even at a bare minimum level, knows. Of course, Trump would lie about this relentlessly. He doesn't want to ever appear weak, and he views sickness as weakness. In fact, he tweeted the other day, never felt better. Never felt better. I feel amazing. It's really incredible. I feel so great. And, you know, as Corin said on Kyle and Corin the other day, it's like when Trump wears those hats that say Trump was right about everything. Corin said, that makes me think, motherfucker, you know you're wrong about everything. And the I feel great. I never felt better. That, of course, has the same effect where it's like, how bad is it? How much time is left? Like, that clock is ticking, isn't it, dog? Like, you're really running out of time if you're saying shit like that. And so, something's going on. Now, is it the mini strokes and the mild ischemic stroke thing? Possibly. That's possibly the case. I haven't really seen a better explanation to this point. But any other medical experts out there want to comment on this? So I will say, I reached out to a doctor to get their opinion on it. And I sent the whole thread. And I said, what do you think of this in your medical opinion? And basically the response was, I don't have enough information.
I don't have enough information. Welcome to the stream. I'm Undowdu, just making myself a little breakfast. Living the life. So that's new news that Melania was at Walter Reed. You know, that's new news, isn't it? Melania's at Walter Reed. Release the blacks from, dude. They're NBA players. NBA players. They got plenty of money. They like to travel around with me. Zang. See, you see a black, I see an NBA player. You see the difference between you and me? I see NBA player. You see a black man. See, that means you're a racist, Zang. You be racist. You be a racist. My plan is warped? What do you think is warped, Jim? How's my plan warped? Educate me. Educate me, Jim. How's my plan warped? Let me close this thing here. God damn. Too bright. How's it warped? Bruh. How is there no fascism? Will you even know what fascism is? You even know what fascism is, dude? Right? All right, let's talk about fascism. Let's talk about fascism, right? Let's talk about fascism, right? Because you guys are dumb fucks, right? All right, let's who should we talk to? All right, let's talk about fascism. What are the 14 signs of fascism? I want to go them by point. So start with the first one.
Okay, the 14 signs of fascism, huh? Well, first up is powerful and continuing nationalism. That's when a country's identity gets cranked to 11. Flags everywhere, us versus them vibes, and the government leaning hard into national pride to rally people. Leaders exploit this to unify the masses, often drowning out dissent with patriotic fervor. You see it in slogans.
So, all right. So I want you, all right, what you just described is MAGA. Explain MAGA. Explain the first point, how it aligns with MAGA, with America First and all that nonsense. Putting flags, putting his face in the flag on a person's butt crack, right? MAGA wears the flag on their butt crack. They like to wear the flag so their big hairy testicles are up against the flag. They think the flag should be a bikini. They think nipples should be touching the flag. This is how sick they are, right? They put the face of Trump and shit on a flag. Go into that. I want you to really delve into it, right? And really explain how point one describes MAGA to the T. Go ahead.
All right, let's break this down. You're focusing on how the first sign of fascism, powerful and continuing nationalism, lines up with the MAGA movement, and you're throwing in some colorful imagery about flags and Trump's face. I hear you, and I'll stick to the point, diving into how this nationalism connects to MAGA, keeping it sharp and conversational. Powerful and continuing nationalism is about a relentless push for national identity, often tied to an us versus them mindset. It's not just pride in your country, it's an aggressive, almost obsessive exaltation of it, where loyalty to the nation or its leader becomes a litmus test for belonging. In the MAGA context, this shows up loud and clear. The Make America Great Again slogan, popularized by Trump in 2016, is a textbook example. It's not just about improving the country, it's a call to restore a supposed golden age of American dominance, often framed as a time when the right people held power. The phrase itself drips with nostalgia for an idealized past, which is a classic nationalist move. Paint a glorious history, say it's been stolen, and rally folks to take it back. Now, let's get to the symbols, like those flags you're talking about. MAGA's visual language is heavy on American flags, often paired with Trump's name or face on hats, shirts, and yeah, even bikinis or other in-your-face gear. This isn't just patriotism, it's branding the nation as synonymous with one man. The flag becomes less a symbol of shared values and more a badge of loyalty to Trump's vision of America. You mentioned folks wearing flags in provocative ways. While that's not everyone, it's true that MAGA rallies are packed with stars and stripes everything, often mixed with Trump imagery. This merges personal loyalty with national pride, which is a hallmark of nationalist movements veering toward authoritarianism. When you see Trump's face superimposed on flags or Rambo-style graphics, it's not just tacky, it's a deliberate fusion of leader and nation, a tactic fascists have used to make dissent feel like betrayal. The America First angle you brought up is key here. It's not just a policy stance, it's a worldview that pits the U.S. against outsiders, whether immigrants, other countries, or even Americans who don't buy in. MAGA's rhetoric often frames America as under siege, with globalists, minorities, or liberals as threats to its greatness. This creates a tribal loyalty where questioning the movement feels like disloyalty to the country itself. Posts on X have echoed this, with some calling MAGA a power movement centered on defending a specific cultural identity, often tied to a romanticized, pre-diversity America. That's nationalism on steroids. It's not about unity through shared values, but about rallying one group against others, often with fear-based rhetoric. You also mentioned the in-your-face displays, like flags as clothing, or Trump's image in crude places. That's partly just the movement's flair for provocation, sticking it to the politically correct crowd. But it's also a way to make the nation's symbols inseparable from the MAGA identity. When supporters drape themselves in flags or slap Trump's name on them, they're claiming ownership of what America means. It's less about the flag's traditional symbolism and more about signaling allegiance to a specific version of America, one that critics, like some scholars and commentators, argue harkens back to a whiter, more homogeneous past. That's where the accusation of nationalism tipping into exclusionary territory comes in, as some see it echoing older, uglier supremacist movements, even if it's wrapped in red, white, and blue. To wrap it up, MAGA's nationalism hits the first sign of fascism dead on, because it's not just about loving America. It's about defining America as a singular vision tied to Trump, his supporters, and their values. The flags, the slogans, the America First mantra, they're tools to unify and polarize, making loyalty to the movement feel like loyalty to the nation. And when you've got people wearing that flag in every way imaginable, from hats to, well, butt cracks, it's a loud statement. This is America, not yours. Want me to move to the second sign or dig deeper into something specific here?
Let's move to the second sign. You did an amazing job. Very clear.
Thanks, glad that clicked. Second sign of fascism is disdain for human rights. That's when leaders or movements start brushing off individual freedoms or protections. Think free speech, privacy, or equal treatment, claiming they're less important than the greater good of the nation or cause. It often starts subtle, targeting specific groups, like minorities or dissidents, and justifying it with security or order. You see it in rhetoric that dehumanizes opponents or shrugs off abuses as necessary. Want me to tie this to anything specific, or just keep rolling with the general vibe?
So when he calls immigrants poisoning the blood of the nation, that has like Nazi ring to it, right? Calling people vermin, and going around and saying that all our problems are because of the undocumented, that he's going to get rid of the criminals, and then he's going after 600 kids, right? That are, he's going after day laborers and other people who haven't done any crimes. He's attacking this undocumented group of Americans. They're Americans. They've been here. They're part of the culture. They harvest the crops, they build the homes, they take care of the elderly. These are people that are intensely connected to the fabric of America. They're undocumented Americans, and they make the argument, well, why aren't they legal? Well, it can take years and years and years to get your green card, to get citizen. The whole system is convoluted, it's broken, it's not fixed. And the thing is Trump doesn't even follow the system, right? He's taken away due process, so why should they go through due process, right? Why should they go and try to go through the system when Trump is actually taking away the system? He's taken away due process from these individuals. He's attacking people on green cards, revoking their green cards because they're speaking out against the tyranny of Trump. Go into all of that and explain how that fits into part two.
Disdain for human rights, like I mentioned, is when freedoms get sidelined for the sake of the nation or a leader's agenda. And what you're describing with Trump's rhetoric and actions fits into that frame like a glove. Let's unpack it, point by point, keeping it conversational and tying it to your examples about immigrants, poisoning the blood, and green card revocations. First, let's tackle the language. Calling immigrants vermin, or saying they're poisoning the blood of the nation, as Trump has done at rallies, like the one in Durham, New Hampshire, isn't just harsh, it's dehumanizing. In policy, he's framing entire groups as subhuman dangers. That's a classic move to erode empathy and justify violating their rights, because who cares about vermin, right? It sets the stage for treating them as less than equal under the law. Now, you mentioned the 600 kids and day laborers, people who aren't criminals but are still targeted. Trump's mass deportation rhetoric, like promising to get rid of the criminals and then casting a wider net, shows how disdain for human rights plays out. Undocumented immigrants, as you said, are woven into America's fabric, harvesting crops, building homes, caring for the elderly. Yet Trump's approach doesn't distinguish between criminals and, say, a day laborer who's been here for decades. By lumping them together as a threat, he dismisses their contributions and their right to fair treatment. This is where the us versus them kicks in. If you're not part of the right America, your rights don't matter as much. Posts on X have pointed out this pattern, noting how the Trump administration's actions, like mass deportation plans, seem to ignore protections for refugees or non-criminals, which aligns with sidelining human rights for a broader agenda. You also brought up due process, and this is huge. The Constitution's 5th and 14th Amendments guarantee due process to all persons, not just citizens. But Trump's push to deport people en masse.
Yeah, go on. All persons. Continue.
Those protections. Recent news shows federal judges, like Judge Gia Cobb, have blocked Trump's efforts to expand expedited removals because they trample on due process. Expedited removal lets officials deport people without a judge's hearing.
All right, I'm going to do a little pivot here. There's a book written in 1941 that talks about the two legal systems in early Germany, where you have the facade legal system, and then you got the underwriting legal system, right? Can you talk about that?
Sure, let's pivot to that. You're likely referring to Ernst Frankel's Prussian published in 1941 after he fled Nazi Germany to the United States. Frankel, a German Jewish lawyer, described how the Nazi regime operated with two legal systems running side by side, what you called the facade and the underwriting legal systems. Let's break it down clearly and connect it to what you're getting at with that conversational vibe. The facade legal system is what Frankel called the Codex. This was the visible, traditional legal framework: courts, laws, judges, that looked like it was still functioning as a rule of law system. It handled things like contracts, property disputes, and minor criminal cases, giving the appearance that Germany was still a civilized, law-abiding society. This was the outward show, meant to keep things stable and reassure people, both at home and abroad, that the system wasn't entirely lawless. Underneath that, you've got the underwriting system, or what Frankel called the new overlap. This was the real power, the unchecked, extrajudicial machine run by the Nazis, especially through the Gestapo and SS. They could arrest, detain, or eliminate anyone without legal oversight, all in the name of protecting the national interest.
Well, going down, Barrett, when did these two legal systems start? I mean, it's 1933.
Yeah, you're on the right track. The two legal systems in Nazi Germany, as Frankel described, really started taking shape around 1933, when Hitler and the Nazis seized power. Let's break it down quick and clear,
Right.
keeping it conversational.
So, all right, so we've affirmed, so we have 14 points. Someone asked if Trump's a dictator. What we're doing right now, I appreciate you asking that question, is we're going to the 14 points, right? So point 1, Trump fits like a glove. Point 2, Trump fits like a glove. Let's move to the third point of a dictator.
Third sign of fascism is identification of enemies as a unifying cause. That's when a leader points to specific groups, like immigrants, minorities, or political opponents, and paints them as the big bad wolf.
And we can pretty much, I'm going to cut you there, we can pretty much say that's what Trump is doing with the undocumented, correct?
Yeah, spot on. Trump's been calling undocumented immigrants criminals, rapists, and even poisoning the blood of our country, which is textbook enemy making to rally his
All right,
base.
so we're going to go through it. All right, so point 1 was just really short, few tokens. What was it? Remind the people listening, what was point 1?
Point 1 was powerful and continuing nationalism.
That's
That's the heavy focus.
Yeah, that's the MAGA flags, all that stuff, Trump on flags, Trump trading cards, Trump, Trump, Trump. People coming in here going, Trump, Trump, Trump. That's like fentanyl Trump, right? What's point 2?
Point 2 was disdain for human rights.
That's right, taking away due process, right? Trying to speed up the system. That's why I brought that two legal system in, right? The Codex and the other one, whatever it was, just remind us. And that's what's going on. The attacks on attorney firms, taking away business from them, these billion-dollar firms that say, oh, you can't do business with the government. That's attacks. All of this is disdain for the legal, right? Gutting the FBI, sending people everywhere, gutting all this stuff, gutting all these institutions that deal with the preservation of the legal system. So we can say 1, 100% yes. 2, yes, 100% yes. 3, what was point 3?
Third point was identification of enemies as a unifying cause.
And that was the undocumented, right? So what's point 4? Let's go through these quicker. I want to use less things, go through them, right? Just hit the points for point 4 now.
Point 4 is supremacy of the military. That's when the military gets elevated above civilian control, often used as a symbol of strength and order, with spending or focus shifted heavily toward it, sometimes at the expense of other public needs.
Yeah, so spending $170 billion on creating a paramilitary ICE force like the Gestapo, wouldn't you say that would fit into that one?
Yeah, that $170 billion for ICE does fit into point 4, supremacy of the military, because it's pumping massive funds into a paramilitary.
Yeah, which is localized. It is the Gestapo. Gestapo didn't have $170 billion. China only spends $30 billion this is an interesting math I want you to figure out. China spends $30 billion annually to control 3 billion people, right? I want you to break down $170 billion to control 400 million. What does that equate to if China was spending on that per capita on that relationship?
All right, let's crunch those numbers quick and conversational, like we're figuring it out together. You've got China spending 30 billion annually to control 3 billion people, and you're saying the US is spending 170 billion on something like ICE to control 400 million. Let's break down the per capita spending and scale it up to see what China would spend at the same rate. China, 30 billion divided by 3 billion people is $10 per person. Simple math, right? Now, the US, 170 billion divided by 400 million. Let's compare that US per capita military and security spending to other countries, sticking to the web data we have. Based on recent figures, I'm assuming you're referring to the 170 billion for a paramilitary force like ICE, but I'll also pull in broader military spending numbers since ICE isn't typically broken out this way in standard budgets.
Well, it was in the beautiful bill. It was given all the other agencies were cut except for ICE. Here, I'm going to put you to assistant. So I've made you assistant, so now you can search the web. Go ahead and search the web for that. Go ahead and search the web.
Top headlines today include a federal
No. I want you to search the web on the budget spent on ICE.
For 2024, Immigration and Customs Enforcement spent around $9.99 billion. Recent proposals suggest the budget
What's
could
what's the big beautiful bill allocated $170 billion? Look it up.
Yes, the big beautiful bill allocated roughly $170 billion for immigration enforcement and border security. This includes funding for ICE detention, deportation operations, border wall construction, and hiring thousands of new agents, with plans extending through 2029.
Yeah. So I want you to do the comparison, right? On if China spends about 30 billion on their internal police structure for their 3 billion people, what does that amount to for what ICE is spending to control and maintain Americans?
To compare, if China spends $30 billion on its internal police structure for 1.4 billion people, that's about $21 per person annually. In contrast, the proposed $170 billion ICE budget over 4 years for the US, with a population of roughly 330 million, averages about $129 per person per year. This suggests ICE's per capita spending is significantly higher, roughly 6 times more than China's per capita internal police spending. Keep in mind, these are broad estimates.
I know, they're broad estimates. So we're going through fascism, those 14 things of fascism. If you look at our conversation history, can you see where we're at? We're on point 5. What's the 5th point for fascism? Trump is fascist from point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. What's the 5th point in the 14 points of fascism?
The 5th point of fascism, according to Lawrence Britt's 14 characteristics, is rampant sexism. Fascist governments tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated, with rigid enforcement of traditional gender roles, high opposition to abortion, and widespread homophobia.
There you go. So we have the attacks on DEIA, where predominantly blacks, women, browns, and LGBTQ were just expunged from the government. According to data, college-educated African Americans are less likely to find a job than uneducated white Americans now at this stage. Basically, we've lost all standing. There's also attacks on abortion, women's rights, attacks on women's freedoms. The whole idea that women should have this stay at home, they shouldn't vote, they should just rear babies nonsense. All of this attacks on the the LGBTQ community, etc., the transphobia of these groups, all of this. So all of this fits into point 5, correct?
Yes, all of that fits into the 5th point of fascism, rampant sexism. The attacks on DEIA, targeting blacks, women, brown communities, and LGBTQ groups align with enforcing rigid gender roles and marginalizing those who don't fit the traditional mold. The data you mentioned about college-educated African Americans facing worse job prospects than uneducated white Americans ties into systemic exclusion. The attacks on abortion, women's rights and freedoms, pushing outdated notions like women should only be homemakers.
So of the 14 points, then on the 14 points, point 1, Trump, yes. Point 2, Trump, yes. Point 3, Trump, yes. Point 4, Trump, yes. Point 5, Trump, yes. What's the 6th point of fascist, on the fascist?
The 6th point of fascism is controlled mass media. Fascist regimes often censor or outright control media outlets to suppress opposition.
So the suing of CNN, getting rid of NPR, cutting the budgets, getting rid of Voice of America, all these different things, the attacks on the media. Wouldn't you say Trump fits in that category?
Yes, Trump fits the 6th point, controlled mass media. Suing CNN, cutting NPR and PBS budgets, targeting Voice of America, and his broader attacks on media outlets, often labeling them.
Yeah,
as
getting rid of late night with Dave, the late night shows, all that stuff, all that adds in. Okay, so far of the 14 points, Trump is a fascist in the first 6. What's the 7th point?
The 7th point of fascism is obsession with national security. Fascist regimes often justify extreme measures like curtailing civil liberties or expanding surveillance under the guise of protecting the nation from internal or external threats, real or exaggerated.
So look at Palantir. Search the news about Palantir and the contracts Trump is giving them. They're releasing your data, your tax data is being released to ICE. So before, your tax data was private. They're releasing tax data now. They don't give a fuck what the courts are saying. Remember, we went through that. They don't care. So Palantir, they're building surveillance state. On top of that, paramilitary ICE group, right? Deep state police force in America. Same thing Putin built. Same thing all these other fascists built in order to control. They're going to pivot and weaponize this group to get their ends. So talk about that surveillance. Search the web, especially with Palantir, what's going on.
Recent reports show Palantir's contracts with the Trump administration are expanding, including a $30 million deal with ICE to build Immigration OS, an AI-driven platform due by September 2025. This system will track and deport non-citizens by pulling data from multiple government databases, including tax and social security records previously off limits.
Yeah, so that's 6 things. So let's answer some questions here. It says, Cindy, do you believe that any person who has an alternative belief than yourself swings to one extreme to the other, right? It's not about swinging, Tanya. It's about actually being. I mean, what I'm pointing out, I'm going to, if you would listen, I'm pointing out very well documented the 14 point. This is why I don't call you guys fascists, because to call you fascist, I have to go through the 14 points and illustrate to each of those points that you are a fascist. It's better just to call you Nazi. You're fucking Nazi. That's what MAGA supporters are. They're Nazis, but not any old Nazi. You're not the 1939 Nazi that started killing people. Not yet. You're going to get there, right? You're not the 1939, 1940, 41. No, you're not them Nazis. You're not even the 1938 Nazi thinking about exterminating, right, the Jews, because you're 1934 right now, right? So that's 4 years from now. Though I think it's going to be quicker for you crazy motherfuckers, dude. You're not the 1937 who are like, someone's saying, hey, maybe we should just get rid of them. Because we've got hundreds of these undocumented, because we have 11 million here. Germany only had 500,000, right? We've got 11 million undocumented. You're going to fill up all these corporations making all this money, housing people, right? Turning into America, the prison country, right? We're going to be another fucking, South American dictator, like in El Salvador. And at some point, you're going to say, oh, you know what? We'll just start getting rid of these guys. You know, these kids, God, they're just eating. They're costing us too much. That's what the Nazis did, right? That's where you're headed. Right now, you're baby little turd Nazis, little baby turd Nazis, right? Who are just starting off. Hey, let's build all the concentration camps. Let's not give anyone access to these concentration camps. Oh no, you can't come look at our concentration camps. I don't know if you've been hearing the reporting. Women who are being given used, they're not even washing the underwear. They're just passing it out, right? Women that have been in there for over a year without any due process, without access to attorney, just being held, right? Just in horrible conditions, drinking very chlorinated water, right? Making them sick. There was a report just recently on that. You know, that's how it starts. You start by being inhumane to individuals, taking 7-year-old kids that were given asylum, and in the middle of the night, 600 of them trying to secretly deport them out of the country. That's what you tried to do last night. That's Nazi shit, dude, right? Right now, you're in the, just get them out. But eventually, you're going to get to the place where it's like, oh, this is just to murder them. You won't care. You'll be so desensitized. You'll think they're fucking animals and beasts. You'll just start thinking, get rid of them. That's the reality, right? That's the reality, right? That's what's happening right now, right? And that's what you are. Because what's happening right now, everything that Hitler was doing in 1933, Trump is doing. Maybe you can outline that. Outline all the things that Hitler was doing in 1933 and compare it to what's happening with Trump. Back it up with facts. Search the web.
Let's outline what Hitler did in 1933 and compare it to Trump's actions now, based on available info. In 1933, after Hitler became chancellor on January 30, he moved fast to consolidate power. Here's what happened. First, he used the Reichstag fire in February to push the Reichstag fire decree, suspending civil liberties like free speech and press, allowing arrests.
Like, what did Obama do, right? You're saying Obama. What did Obama do? Did Obama run around and grab people? Was there masked people running around when Obama was in charge? Running around, you know, places of business, breaking in, right? Did Obama bring National Guards into cities without the governor or mayor? I don't think he did anyway, but did he do any of that? No. Did Obama have $170 billion to build a deep state paramilitary police force? Was Obama adding $200 million to the White House, acting like someone doesn't do an addition to a home if they're planning to leave the home in 4 years, do they, right? Is Obama, did he upgrade a gift of $400 million to upgrade it? So, and have it ready for him. That won't be ready for him because he wasn't going to leave office. I mean, don't talk shit, dude. You're just a Nazi. You're just a piece of shit fucking Nazi. That's what you are. Right? Anyone else? Anyone else? You ask him if I have a plan? Who's Ronnie Pickering? Remember? Who's Ronnie Pickering? I don't know who Ronnie Pickering is. Obama was the best president we've ever had. Yeah, he was pretty good. Any other questions? I know. That was beautiful, CJ. He did. Now all the white supremacists are in power. Now they fucking took over through Trump. I want you to tell me, search Ronnie Pickering. Who's Ronnie Pickering?
Here's linked to. Ronnie Pickering is a former taxi driver from Hull, England, who became an internet sensation in 2015 after a road rage incident went viral. In the video, captured by a moped rider's GoPro near Brand's home fire station, Pickering got into a heated, profanity-filled argument, repeatedly shouting, "Do you know who I am? I'm Ronnie Pickering." The clip, uploaded to YouTube, exploded online, turning his name into a meme and inspiring parodies, with some even calling September 21st Ronnie Pickering Day on social media. He's a former amateur boxer and served in the military, but he's mostly known for this outburst. Since then, he's had minor legal troubles, like a court appearance in 2017 for a fight, and he's expressed mixed feelings about his fame, calling it bizarre, but acknowledging the video's massive reach, likely over 100 million views across platforms.
All right, cool. All right. Haha, you look like, what do you say? What do you say? You look like him. I'm checking people. Brian, look at the Nazi. Brian, the Nazi. Brian, why are you a Nazi, dude? Any of you fuckturds want to explain why you're Nazis? I want to know. Why do you guys think being a Nazi is good? Yeah. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Kimberly. Yeah, because you know what's going to be great is when Trump kicks the bucket, right? And all of a sudden you got this JD Vance with the Palantir, right? With his butt buddy, his butt chum, whatever his name is from Palantir. I can't think of his name. Who is the guy that runs Palantir?
The CEO of Palantir Technologies is Alexander Karp.
No, not Karp. Who's the background? Who's really the money behind it? Part of PayPal Mafia.
You're looking for Peter Thiel.
That's right,
He's the
Peter
real
Thiel. Peter Thiel. You know, JD Vance is Peter Thiel's butt buddy.
Yeah, Peter Thiel and JD Vance have a close connection.
Real close. Do you think they rub on the couch together?
No idea about that, but their bond's definitely tight, politically and financially. Thiel's influence on Vance is well documented, with mentorship.
So imagine if Trump gets incapacitated and JD Vance. Let's play it out, right? You got the JD Vance, you got the Marjorie Taylor Greene groups, you got all these different groups. It's going to be complete meltdown. It's going to be amazing to watch.
Oh, if Trump gets incapacitated and JD could get wild fast.
What do you mean? You say no idea what you're talking. Tell me, Brian. Brian, tell me how Trump isn't a Nazi. I just went through it all. Nazi is fascism, right? Brian, you're probably a Nazi, aren't you, Brian? Brian, are you a Nazi? Are you a Nazi? Is that why you're upset? Because you're a Nazi and I'm infringing on your space? You know you're Nazi, right? See you, Aaron. Go watch Charlie Kirk. Go watch it. I think Kimberly's okay. I don't know who blocked Kimberly. $10 years ago, Kimberly. You're not Kimberly. You're not a Trump supporter, are you? Sorry, Kimberly. I may have hid you by mistake. Sorry, Kimberly. I don't think Kimberly. I may have accidentally hid you by mistake, Kimberly. I apologize. I apologize. I was hitting on someone else. I hid you. That's why I gave you mod status. All right. SRE. You in Japan? Yeah, I am, Raymond. I've been here 21 years. What's up? Disappointed. We just add ourselves an ambassador from Netherlands. We have a very important person in here from the Netherlands. Welcome to the channel, brother. Who gives a fuck about Biden? Who gives a fuck about Biden? We're dealing with a dictator, right? The loss of our capitalism that's happening right now. We're no longer a capitalistic nation. We have the facade, right? We have the facade that we are. We still have the court, but you know, they're ignoring the Supreme Court. He just violated a Supreme Court order just the other day. They don't give a fuck about our judiciary. The only thing that's left is for American people to get out there and protest. That's the only thing you have. Boots on the ground. Get on the ground. Protest, protest, protest. Raymond, you just have to get on a plane, dude. Get on a plane. Do you have an American passport, Raymond? Get an American passport. Save up $400, round trip ticket, fly to Japan. Give yourself like, you know, a 2-month stay in it. That's it. Easy. I came to Japan with no money. No, Brian, people did have a choice. Choice was for democracy or fascism. That's not a choice. Brian, that's not a choice. Democracy and fascism is not a choice, right? Not to an American. You were duped into selecting fascism. You were manipulated into picking fascism. AI sentiment engines manipulated you. You thought you're upset with the whole system and everything else. You were duped. You were tricked into it, Brian. How am I the dupe, Brian? What? Are you in denial of your duping? That you were duped? That you were lied to? Look at the prices going on in the stores. Are you in denial that shit ain't go to your Walmart, go to your Target, go to your fucking grocery store. Are you in denial that prices are going up? Are you going to be one of those? Oh no, prices are lower. Gas is lower. It's never been as low. Are you one of those people? You know, in denial? Are you one of those in denial individuals? Simon, there's 14 points to fascism. Defining fascism is a complicated thing.
Prices at stores like Walmart and Target are indeed going up, mainly because of Trump's tariffs. Web data shows items like toys and electronics have spiked, some by nearly 40%. A toddler's ring stacking toy at Walmart jumped from $5.88 to $8.23 in weeks. I hear your frustration about being duped. And yeah, AI and social media can amplify manipulation, pushing... The 14 points of fascism, as outlined by political scientist Lawrence Britt, are specific traits common in fascist regimes like Hitler's Germany and Mussolini's Italy. They're not a strict checklist, but they flag patterns of authoritarian control. Since we've covered some already, I'll pick up where we left off and go through them point by point, keeping it concise and conversational.
No, what's nuts? All right, so of the 14 points, point 1, right? Trump fascist. Point 2, Trump fascist. Point 3, Trump fascist. Point 4, Trump fascist. Point 5, Trump fascist. I think point 6, what was point 6?
Point 6 was controlled mass media.
Yeah, we did do that. Fascist, right? Controlling through getting rid of them. Getting rid of Voice of America, getting rid of NPR, that's control. Kicking late night, getting organizations to kowtow to him, right? That's control. What's point 7?
Point 7 is obsession with national security. Fascist regimes justify extreme measures like expanded surveillance or curtailed freedoms.
Oh, yeah, we did that. It was Palantir. Trump also 7. What's point 8?
Point 8 is religion and government intertwined.
All right, fascism, national. Look at that. Look at what Trump is doing with the national, Christianity, Christian nationalists. Right? They are putting the Bible in schools. I mean, they took Anne Frank, a seminal book in education, out of schools. When you start taking away books from education and saying what people can and can't read, you are not giving freedom. The whole idea of freedom of speech, freedom to think, freedom to read, right? Look, poor fun, endless needs, right? Is talking about his Trump derangement syndrome. All right, that's fascism, isn't it not?
Yes, what you're describing ties right into fascism, especially points like religion and government intertwined and controlled mass media. Trump pushing Christian nationalism, like putting the Bible in schools through policies backed by people like Ryan Walters in Oklahoma, is straight out of point 8. It's about fusing a specific religion with state power to control narratives and values. Taking books like Anne Frank out of curricula, as we've seen in places like Florida, isn't about freedom. It's censorship, plain and simple. It's restricting what people can read and think, which also loops back to point 6, controlled mass media, where you limit information to shape what people believe.
Right.
Freedom of speech and thought get gutted.
And also the attack on education. They're gutting education. They're getting rid of the Department of Education. They completely gutted that, right? And that's also, they want to keep the populace dumb. Explain why keeping the populace uneducated, keeping them dumb at like a 2nd, 3rd grade, by curtailing what they can read, what they can think, ultimately ties into this whole fascism playbook.
Gutting the Department, like Trump's executive order dismantling it, and limiting what people can read or learn is a direct play from the fascism playbook. It's about keeping the population uneducated to make them easier to control. Fascist regimes thrive when people don't question, think critically, or know their history, because an ignorant populace is less likely to resist. When you dismantle something like the Department of Education, which handles federal funding for schools, student loans, and equity programs, you're choking off resources for public education. This hits marginalized groups, low-income, disabled, minority students, hardest, as they rely on programs like Title I and IDEA for equal access. Experts warn this leads to bigger class sizes, fewer teachers, and slashed services, like special education. Historically, fascist regimes like Hitler's Nazi Germany and Mussolini's Italy use uneducation and control over information to cement power. In Nazi Germany, starting in 1933, the regime gutted education by purging Jewish teachers and professors, banning books like those by socialists or Jews, and rewriting curricula to glorify Aryan ideals and Hitler. By 1936...
And that's happening too, the whole slavery thing, how slavery was, quote, good, that's the same thing.
Yes, pushing the idea that slavery was good, like some Trump allies have done.
No, they got it. No, not some Trump ally. He's been bullying the Smithsonian. Search the web. Bullying the Smithsonian, bullying institutions, all about slavery, telling them to take down displays and everything else.
Recent reports confirm Trump has been pressuring the Smithsonian to downplay slavery's horrors, claiming their exhibits focus too much on how bad it was. He's called the Smithsonian out of control on Truth Social, pushing for a review to align their displays with his America First agenda, emphasizing success and brightness over historical truths like slavery's impact. This mirrors fascist tactics of controlling narratives by rewriting history to obscure uncomfortable facts, keeping the public less informed and more compliant. Want me to move to point 9 or dive deeper into this?
Go to point 9. So far, all the points of fascism, we're going through them all. Push back. If you want to push back on any point or tell me to readdress that I'm wrong, put your data, feel free. Right? But so what's point? So far, point 1, Trump fascism, yes. Point 2, Trump fascism, yes. Point 3, yes. 4, yes. 5, yes. 6, yes. 7, yes. 8, yes. We're on point 9 of 14. What's 9?
Point 9 is corporate power protected. Fascist regimes often collude with big business, giving corporations huge influence while stifling smaller competitors or dissent, creating a cozy relationship where loyal companies get favors and the regime gets economic muscle. Any pushback from me? I'd say all 8 points we've covered do align closely with Trump's actions based on what we've discussed: nationalism, human rights disdain, enemy scapegoating, militarized ICE, anti-education moves, and more. No major holes to poke there with the evidence we've got. Want to tie point 9 to specific Trump examples?
What is point 9?
Point 9 is corporate power protected.
Yeah, so what's here? I'll tell you what to search for. So he corporations, for example, I bet you guys don't know this, but search the web, validate this. Is Japan now owns U.S. Steel? The deal for Japan to buy U.S. Steel went through in June. Is that correct?
Nippon Steel completed its acquisition of U.S. Steel in June, with the deal finalized on June 18th, 2025, after Trump approved it with a national security agreement.
So how does this? So how does this? Right? So how does this? He's letting a foreign country own U.S. Steel, right? He's like, what's this America First thing? What happened there? What is that? Where's your, and here's the cool thing. You know what sealed the deal? Search the web about the special shares allocated to Trump, like golden shares or something. Could you search the web for that?
Recent reports confirm Trump secured a golden share in the U.S. Steel Nippon deal, giving him veto power over major decisions like headquarters relocation, name changes, or job outsourcing. While some say this protects national interests, others argue it's a facade for personal influence, conflicting with his America First rhetoric since a foreign company now owns U.S. Steel. This ties to point 9.
Yeah, point 9. He gets the go. Now, it didn't go to the U.S. government. He holds it. When he leaves office, he keeps the golden share. It's Trump's golden share. Bullshit, dude. Right? He's a fucking dictator. That ties into dictator, right? Fascist.
Yes, that ties right into fascism, especially point 9, corporate power protected, and it amplifies the dictator vibe.
Yeah, also, for example, Steve Cook brought in a gold award, gave Trump gold, right? Paid him off. NVIDIA is required to pay 16% of all profits of selling our top, most advanced chips. How's that about keeping America great again?
Corporate power protected, because it's a sweetheart deal where Trump's administration gets a 15% cut of NVIDIA and AMD's revenue from these China sales, as confirmed by multiple reports like ABC News.
Yeah, so it was not the top. My mistake. It's like the second. It doesn't matter. You get enough of these chips, you can be as strong as the strongest chip. It's just you need more of them to be as the top. So they'll buy all of those chips. And also, for example, here's also cronyism, right? The idea that they're taking the CHIPS Act, what Biden passed, and now Trump is leveraging. So these corporations like Intel are allocating 10% of their corporation to Trump, right? 10%. That there is 9 all the way.
Yeah, you're right about the chips. It's the H20, NVIDIA's second-tier chip for China. But as you said, bulk them up enough, and they can still pack a punch for AI workloads. That deal, with Trump skinning 15% of NVIDIA and AMD's revenue from those sales, as reported by outlets like the Financial Times, is pure point 9, corporate power protected. It's a cozy setup where loyal corporations get access to markets.
And this happened talk about in 1933, what corporations got special treatment in the early Hitler. The same thing. Again, what's happening right now in 2025 is mirroring what happened in 1933. This is why I call MAGA Nazis. Why MAGA is the modern day Nazi party. The Fourth Reich is here.
In 1933, right after Hitler took power, several major corporations got special treatment from the Nazi regime, and it's chilling how it mirrors today's Trump-related deals. The Nazis knew they needed industry to prop up their economy and war machine, so they forged tight alliances with businesses that aligned with their goals. Here's how it went down, based on historical data, and how it parallels what's happening now with MAGA policies in 2025. In Germany, big players like IG Farben a massive chemical company, got sweetheart deals. They were key in producing synthetic fuels and chemicals for the Nazis, and in return, they got huge government contracts, forced labor from prisoners, and protection from competition. By 1933, IG Farben was already cozying up, with its leaders joining the Nazi Party and later profiting massively from the regime's policies.
So this is very similar to the tech bros in the Trump party, all the AI people in the Trump party, how they're all in there now, all these Silicon Valley. Talk about that. Talk about Mark Andreessen. Talk about the PayPal mafia. Talk about all the tech bros that are in the administration.
Silicon Valley's tech bros, like Mark Andreessen and the PayPal mafia, are deep in Trump's administration, mirroring how corporations got cozy with Hitler's regime in 1933 for mutual gain. It's point 0.9, corporate power protected, on steroids, with a modern twist of AI and crypto influence. Let's break it down, quick and conversational, based on what's out there. Mark Andreessen, the Netscape founder and venture capitalist, is a big player. He's not formally in the administration, but acted as an unpaid intern during Trump's transition, vetting
Unpaid
candidates
intern.
and pushing.
No, go on. I didn't know he was an unpaid intern.
Yeah, Mark Andreessen called himself an unpaid intern while advising Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, during the transition. He's not got an official title, but he was heavily involved, spending time at Mar-a-Lago, vetting candidates for roles across tech, economic policy, and even defense, per the Washington Post. He's pushing for deregulation, especially in crypto, which benefits his venture capital firm, Andreessen Horowitz, invested in AI and fintech. The PayPal mafia, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, David Sachs, and others are also in deep.
All right, what's point 10?
Point 10 is labor power suppressed. Fascist regimes crush unions, worker rights, and collective bargaining to keep workers in line, ensuring corporate interests dominate without
So
pushback from
you could
organized-
apply that the rollbacks of DEIA in a way applies to this. Affirmative action rollbacks, taking away all the safeguards. Search the web, find examples of how this has been happening under Trump.
Recent executive orders under Trump, like the one from January 2025, titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, have rolled back DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, initiatives, and affirmative action across the federal government. This includes scrapping Executive Order 11246, a Johnson-era policy requiring federal contractors to ensure equal employment opportunities, which hit labor protections hard, especially for minorities and women. The ACLU notes this upend. Under Trump's rollbacks on DEIA and affirmative action, the labor impact's been brutal, especially for vulnerable groups. Federal contractors, who employ around 3.7 million workers, lost protections from Executive Order 11246, which mandated equal employment without discrimination based on race, gender, or other traits. Scrapping this, as reported by outlets like CBS News, means companies can sidestep hiring or promoting minorities, women, or disabled folks without federal pushback, gutting safeguards that unions relied on to protect diverse workers. The Department of Labor's Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs, which enforce these rules, has been directed to stop promoting diversity or affirmative action. Further,
So what we live in an environment. It's a good old boy network again. They can hire their college buddies. It doesn't matter if you're more qualified as a candidate anymore. All those protections are gone. Explain that.
exactly. That's the new reality under Trump's rollbacks on DEIA and labor protections. We're back to a good old boy network where companies can hire based on cronies, connections, or who fits the mold, often white, male, and tied to the in crowd. Trump's January 2025 executive order ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity wiped out federal rules like Executive Order 11246, which required contractors to hire and promote without bias toward race, gender, or disability. As reported by outlets like DLA Piper and the ACLU, this means federal.
All right, let's go point 11. Let's go point 11.
Point 11 is disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Fascist regimes often attack academics, artists, and thinkers who challenge their ideology, branding them elitist or disloyal to control the cultural narrative and suppress critical thought. Want me to connect this to Trump or move forward?
Yeah, go ahead.
Recent moves under Trump, like slashing funding for the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities, pushing the Smithsonian to revise slavery exhibits, and dismissing university leaders, as seen in posts on X and news from the art newspaper, show a clear pattern of attacking intellectuals and the arts. This aligns with point 11, disdain for intellectuals and the arts.
Also, there's the whole thing of the arts, the Kennedy Center takeover, the remaking, all of the, getting rid of all of the programming and yada, 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 all of that too.
Yes, the Kennedy Center takeover fits into this perfectly. Trump's move to install himself as chairman, fire Biden appointees, and overhaul programming, as reported by Forbes and The Nation, shows a blatant attempt to control the arts and suppress diverse voices. The push to end drag shows and woke programming highlight.
All right, let's go to point. All right, that's point 11. So it's point 11. It was at point 10. I can't remember. What point are we on?
We're on point 11, disdain for intellectuals and the arts. That includes the Kennedy Center takeover.
Well, also that includes the attack on Harvard, the attack on the universities, bending them to taking away DOJ, fining them, taking away their grants, all that stuff. I don't know if you know, search the web about is it 600,000 or 60,000 Chinese students that aren't going to be allowed, and how much money that is?
Recent reports show the Trump administration students at U.S. universities, particularly Harvard, with plans to revoke visas for an estimated 60,000 Chinese nationals. This stems from executive orders.
Is that just one university or all universities?
It's targeting all universities, not just one.
So what would that be? That's in the... I'd go upstairs. All right, upstairs now. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're back. Any questions here? Any questions? I'm not a Trump fan, but he is far from racist. Ding, I can prove that he's a racist, right? He's a fucking racist.
Hey, welcome back. No questions from me, just here to help. About Trump and racism, you're ready to prove he's racist. And based on our earlier talk, you've got plenty of points to pull from, like his rhetoric and policies targeting groups. If you want to lay out your case, I can break it down with you or search
and stuff that happened.
The Central Park 5 case shows a pattern of Trump's actions that could fit into fascism's disdain for human rights and scapegoating enemies, as we covered in points 2 and 3. In 1989, 5 Black and Latino teenagers, Yusef Salaam, Antron McCrae, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise, were wrongfully convicted of raping a jogger in New York Central Park. Trump, then a private citizen, spent $85,000 on full-page ads in major New York newspapers.
What would that be? What would that cost be equivalent today?
To find out what Trump's $85,000 spent on those full-page ads in 1989 would be worth today, we adjust for inflation using the Consumer Price Index, CPI. In 1989, the CPI was around 124, and for 2025, it's estimated at about 324 based on recent trends. The formula is simple. Multiply the original amount by the ratio of today's CPI to 1989 CPI. So, inflation adjustment measures how much a dollar's buying power has changed over time using the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. To adjust Trump's...
Hi, this is Mike, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's me, brother. How you on? I'm trying to get my headset working.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
In 1989,
Are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now it's around 320.
Can you hear me? Check, check, check.
Divide the
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just mute the AI for a second.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I can hear you. What's up? Just returning your call, man. I was downstairs when you called, making breakfast.
Right. It's all right. I've tried to call you a couple of times over a couple of days. I want to talk specifically about one thing. the letter that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday?
You know, is that new?
No, it's not, but I'm going to decipher it for you.
What was the? Let's pull that up. So we're at least find that letter. Hold on. Let me just have the
That's
AI.
the first thing I want you to do. Pull up the letter because the text is out there, you know.
Jeffrey Epstein.
50th birthday letter or something from Trump. Yeah.
Was that the one where he drew? I know the birthday card. So is the birthday letter different than the birthday card?
No, it was the text that was written, and apparently Donald Trump had drawn.
Yeah. I mean, I went. Let's see. Here it is. So the voiceover with the voiceover.
I want you to get the text.
Let me read the voiceover. You want me? Is that the voiceover? It goes voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. And Donna goes, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. And Jeffrey goes, nor will I.
It's not a voiceover. This is a letter that Donald Trump wrote specifically to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday.
Well, that's
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, the way it's presented is it's presented as a voiceover, though, right?
Well, if you can, I don't.
I'm on Wikipedia. I'm on Wikipedia, and it says the letter from Donald Trump was framed in the outline of a naked woman with several. Yes. The thing is, the other thing. That's what I'm getting to. All right. With a series of lines, typewritten text, imagining a conversation between the pair.
I mean, this is out there. You should be able to find it.
I'm reading it. It says, this is what I'm right. I'm on Wikipedia. It says, the letter from Donald Trump was framed by the outline of a naked woman with several lines of typewritten text, imagining a conversation between the pair. The letter is a conversation.
Okay, certainly. Yes. Then this is what I'm talking about. All right, now start reading the letter.
And it says,
explain this to you.
So I think the first, it says voiceover, but I think that is Jeffrey says. Jeffrey goes, there must be more to life than having everything.
Continue.
Donald says, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is.
Continue.
Jeffrey replies, nor will I, since I also know what it is.
All right, that right there. They seem to not know what they're talking about in the first sentence, and by the third sentence, they both know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about girls, aren't they?
Well, let's not put anything on that yet.
Well, I think the interesting point. I think the
interest. They don't understand what they're talking about at this point, right?
Well, my interesting. I think the first line is the most. There must be more to life than having everything.
Well, these guys were both fucking incredibly rich. They could buy anything that they wanted. Whether it was property or girls or the most exotic meats to eat or whatever, you know.
Well, that's my point. I know. And that's what makes it interesting, because then it goes, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. So
now
what is more...
What is actually off limits? Exactly. Now you have to start looking at exactly what is off limits.
Yeah. Right. Well, there must be one that are having everything. Yes, there is. Won't tell it is. It's okay. Power,
so
right?
Now, by the third sentence, they're on the same page. They're agreeing with each other. We agree on that, right?
Yeah. Then Donna goes, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Yes, we do.
All
come
right.
to think of it.
That's one to remember right there. Okay.
Enigmas
Next.
never age. Have you noticed that? As if
All right. This is where it gets real interesting. Okay. I'm going to talk to you very specifically about this sentence right now. Enigmas never age. Have you ever noticed that, Jeffrey? Those are the words that are in that letter. Those are the exact words, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now,
Well, the next slide is even more interesting.
use your AI. Use your AI. I already know the answer to this. I've already done this.
As a matter of fact, it was clear to me last time I saw you.
I want you to find an anagram for the word enigma. And I'm going to tell you what it is. It's gamine. And then I want you to look up the meaning of the word gamine.
Well, I don't feel like it, dude. Can you just tell us? I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
Gamine is a young girl that is precocious.
So gamines never aged. Have you noticed that? Is that what she's saying?
That's what I'm getting at. Enigma means gamine, and it's the only anagram of enigma. There's a reason why they use the word enigma.
Yeah, and then it says, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Because the last time he saw him, he was pedoing a girl.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is I'm
and then Trump
this letter for you.
Then Trump. Well, I mean, I don't. It doesn't. I mean, he's a pedo, dude. It's a pedo letter. I mean, it does. I mean, it's.
I don't have any doubt about that. What I'm saying is that he was talking in code with other pedos about this.
That's how pedos talk. They talk in code. Yeah, that's a given.
Right.
So a pal. So then it goes. A pal.
Hey, can you send me a 14-year-old to fuck? You can't just say that.
Exactly.
You've got to say, oh, an enigma tomorrow morning would be incredible.
Yes.
You know? And then they know what they're talking about. I'm deciphering this letter so that you know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's like a pal's a wonderful thing because they were probably together at the same time. Happy birthday. May every day be another wonderful secret. I mean, the thing is, it gives it away. I mean, these guys were carrying girls. They were getting virgins and arguing over who was going to fuck them first. Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is like when you end the sentence, I hope every day is another wonderful secret. That's the virgin. That's the girl that they just talked about in the rest of it. I mean, you don't need to even decipher all of it. But you're right. I mean, delving into it, you can see anyone can see the pedo code that is there.
I just want you to understand, and
I understand. I understand.
Your channel,
yeah.
Understand that this wasn't just like a nice little fucking letter saying
it was a message from one pedo to another pedo.
Thanks for your friendship.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Sort of a fucking letter.
And that's the thing. The thing is, I mean, you could probably take AI and go into this. I could probably take Grok and go into this, and I could read it and have it, have it decipher it, even more and go into details and all that. But I think, I mean, yeah, it's obvious, like you said, that this isn't just a happy 50th birthday. This is a message remembering an event that they both shared. Right? A wonderful secret. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get any more pedo. Doesn't get any more pedo than this.
Well, I'm talking to you, so I can't whack them right now.
This guy, the issue is the constant foreign aid to Israel. No, it's not. Good guy. That's not a good guy. The issue is the constant foreign aid to Israel, Egypt, Ukraine, Jordan, while our people can't afford homes, university health. Dude, you can't afford homes, university health care because of a tax break given by Trump to billionaires by dismantling an education system that is geared to to provide you the ability to go to college. By not raising minimum wage, federal minimum wage. I mean, it goes on and on and on, right? It's all because of Trump, the fascist, what he's doing. When you're spending $170 billion on a nationalized police force, right? When you're not spending it on education, you're not spending on healthcare, anything else. When you're giving all these corporations like, oh, they're not accountable anymore, right? You're not helping yourself. That's bullshit, crud. That's bullshit. And states have already proven it. States like have raised the minimum wage in their state, and they prove that's bullshit. Giving people a living wage. Profits have gone up and up and up, right, over the years as people be more efficient, and you're still arguing that bullshit. There's nothing that supports that statement. Raising federal minimum wage creates inflation. Companies, that's bullshit. It doesn't, right? So we should keep our minimum wage the same it has been for the last 20 years while companies keep making more and more money. That's so bullshit. That makes no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever. You need to go back to fucking economic school there, guy. Go back to school, dude. I'm sorry, I can't have dumb fuckers on my channel, right? You're a dumb fuck. Get the fuck out of here. Go back to school, right? Stop regurgitating points that have been disproven over and over and over and over, thinking you're fucking smart. You're not. You are a dumb fuck. Go back to fucking school. Sorry, man. I had to turn you down.
Fucking basic fucking math.
Yeah.
You ask them 5 times 3 and they say 14, 17, 15. Oh, you got it on the 3rd fucking try. Good for you. That's how he's got a whole bunch of people in this country that read at a fucking 5th grade level. Is because we just gave them a 3rd fucking try.
Yeah.
I used to get B's in class. And my parents would ground me for a fucking month. And make me study. But my parents hated me because they didn't want me in the first place. And even the A's weren't fucking good enough. I'm the smartest fucking person I know. And most people that say that are really dumb as fuck. But I'm literally the smartest person I know. There's people on the internet that beat me, no doubt. But I've never met a person in real life that was smarter than me.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to get back to coding. Thanks for calling in, Edward.
I can do amazing things in my mind.
All right.
And math is one of them.
Well, I'm not. I suck at math, so I appreciate the.
Listen for a couple of seconds more. I shouldn't think about the crazy highest math that there is. Okay? Like the guy in the wheelchair, fucking mathematics. Okay? Stephen Hawking putting quantum mechanics and relativity together sort of math. That's the type of math that I think about every fucking day while I scuffle weeds out of the Arizona desert. I'm not a stupid person.
Well, obviously not.
But I listen to people like you, and, well, do you mind if I give a couple of shout-outs to a couple of other people?
Yeah. Shout out to folks, dude. You're on here. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, Edward.
Is a great one that if you want to hear some good shit every once in a while, RTP Talks is great. Pickles is also wonderful. Airy is good. There's lots of people out there on the internet. And there's lots of people on YouTube that can give you lots of different fucking viewpoints.
Yeah. You know what my favorite saying is? I'm an atheist. I know nothing. I fucking love that dude. Remember that dude? You know that dude that came in here and said that?
I was raised Roman Catholic. And I'm a Buddhist.
All right, I'm gonna get back to I want to get back to coding. We'll do the call-ins like on Friday and stuff. I just want to return your call. I saw you called there. All right.
I just wanted to explain.
You did. You did a good job.
The fucking letter to you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Enigma equals gamine, and gamine means a young, precocious female.
Yeah.
And when you read that and you know that, and you have that context, the letter
I'm curious of one thing here. I wonder if how pervasive is that online that enigma is used as a pedophile term? I want you to search the web. I want you to deep dive, deep think, do research on that. Well, it means gamine, right? It means gamine, right? Gamine. What's a gamine? No, not gaming, gamine.
But I understand. Yes, enigma and gamine are anagrams of each other.
It's an anagram for enigma.
They're the only anagrams. There's no other anagram of enigma in the English language except for gamine. It's very specific. They sought this out. That's why they use the word enigma. They looked at this shit. Donald Trump isn't smart. But Jeffrey Epstein was. And Jeffrey Epstein probably set the whole fucking thing up.
So one thing the AI points out is that gamine isn't an anagram of enigma. The letters in enigma are... let's see, it goes through... Oh, golly. Hold on. Let me stop this. It's like... I'm trying to...
Gamine. Gamine is spelled Gamine.
Yeah, well, gamine is 6 letters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enigma is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, maybe it is. It is. Enigma and gamine have these 6 letters, and they match. How can you say they're not the same?
And it's the only anagram of enigma is gamine. They're the only 2 words in the English language that share the same letters. And Donald Trump has also said on camera that he's never used the word enigma.
Well, he has. There's plenty of times that was a lie too, because he has.
You can find that. He said he's never used the word enigma. He knows what enigma is. He denies ever saying it because he knows what it means. He knows the anagram. He'll deny it until his dying day.
I'm arguing with this fucking AI because it's saying it's not, and it obviously is.
Well, you can write it on a piece of paper and figure it out.
It keeps thinking I'm talking about gaming. Gaming is not the enigma, not the word.
ENIGMA.
No, I know how it's fucking spelled, dude. I'm arguing with AI. Fucking AI is being obtuse. Do a line by line comparison, marking out each letter, showing where they are different. Anagrams don't need to be spelt the same. They just need to have the letters the same. There is no, oh, that's where it is. There's no second E. There's no second E in gamine. There's two E's enigma, right? Or is there, what? One, wait, one E, what the hell? Gamine, G1. So E1, N1, I1, N1, M1, A1, gamine, letters G1, A1, M1, I1, N1, E1. There's no second E. What's it fucking talking about? The G's, the A's, the M, the I, the N, the E. It's funny, the AI cannot fucking see this. These are perfect. Okay, finally. Sorry, dude. I had to mute you, dude. I can't focus with someone talking whilst I'm trying to do something. Focus.
Letters.
I don't have your intelligence. No, I'm not tired. I just don't have your capability. I'm a dumb fuck. I'm an atheist. I know nothing. I have to focus. I have to focus on an activity 100%. I finally got this stupid AI to admit But look how long, I mean, I literally was going on and on and on. It was like, no, they're different. It's got two E's and shit. And I'm like, no, it's not. And finally it goes, yes, you're right. Enigma and gamine are indeed perfect anagrams. I must have miscalculated earlier. Let's set it straight. Both use the exact same number of letters, just rearranged, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this is my point. So now I can go to my next point. All right. Sorry, dude. I'm all right. So this takes you to my next point. A gamine is what? A gamine is typically a young woman or girl who is playful, boyish, and charming in a mischievous way, often used in fashion or literature to describe someone with a spirit, right? Vibe, like Audrey Hepburn in her early Rose Petite, impish, lively, blah, 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 blah. Given history, the letters in cryptic tone, enigmas never age, and Wonderful Secret could lean towards the unsettling vibe you mentioned. Yes. 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 The whole, where is that thing? Right? The whole letter is pedo's recounting of an encounter doing let's see, there's more life than having everything. Have everything. Let's see here. Let's see. So that's the letter. See the letter right there? So let's just go through the letter. There must, so voiceover, it can't be a voiceover, so it has to be Jeffrey, right? It says voiceover, but it has to be Jeffrey because the conversation, who is the third, if it's a voiceover, this voiceover is, since Donald speaks next, is Jeffrey. So it's voiceover, first line, because Trump is stupid. He forgot to put Jeffrey. He meant to put voiceover, meaning the whole thing, but he started with voiceover. There is more to life than having everything. Trump goes, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey goes, nor will I, since I also know what it is. All right? And then Donald, we have certain things in common. Yes, and they're gamines, the desire and love for gamines, Jeffrey. Yes, we do. Come to think of it, Donald, enigmas, gamines never age. Right? Have you noticed that? Right? Talking about the young girls, enigmas, and also the enigma, the act. Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me last time I saw you, because last time he saw him, he was probably, raping Katie Johnson, the 14-year-old that he repeatedly raped according to court documents. Yeah, a pal is a wonderful thing, referring to them being together, right, in the action of doing their pedophilia. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret, referring to the action, right? The whole letter, in a way, is two men, pedophiles, recanting a pedophile moment, right? Capsulating it in a letter. It's as clear as day. And not talking. Let's dig deeper into the Trump Epstein letter as a pedo recounting, focusing on that enigma to Gantine anagram and the encounter vibe. The letter as detailed on the Wall Street Journal. With the other thing too is no one talks about the girl that they depicted had small tits, right? Had small breasts, which is also gamine, right? A young woman, wasn't fully that struck my attention when they described the petite breasts was obviously a nubile. Yeah, the line "Enigmas never age" reinforces this, implying timeless access to youth, while nor will I, since I'm keeping everything, ha ha ha, and may never and every day be another wonderful secret. Sounds like gloating over ongoing exploitation, framed as a naked woman outline. It's bold coded brag, lightly recalling a specific event at Mar-a-Lago or elsewhere, given their known ties in the 90s. This mirrors the fascism point too, disdain for human rights, right? That girls don't have rights. Girls are to be abused and taken and used, right? And by concealing abuse under elite privilege, such like the Nazis' elites protected their inner circle crimes. Posted on X also speculates similar coded language in elite circles, though not directly tied to this letter. Want to analyze the further connection of this points on it. Anyway, you still here?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm still.
All right. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that was interesting.
I'm not trying to, diss you on.
I don't feel that.
No.
I think it was good. You brought up a good point.
I'm just trying to hip you to something that.
Yeah, the thing is, see, I look at it, I mean, to me, my focus, Ed, is really the focus on this whole fascist takeover, right? This is just one,
Absolutely.
That's, and I look at the whole thing, the whole point.
You've got a pedophile.
Yeah. The whole.
That's running a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah.
And you've got, like, the head of the fucking military, Hegseth, that beats up women and gets divorced and has to have NDAs with all of his fucking wives and shit like that, then maybe the Nazis are not going to treat certain people very well.
Well, they didn't. They did. Well, that's what the AI said. The AI is they protected their pedos and others. The elite circles were doing male child pedophilia. A lot of them did. A lot of those Nazis were raping boys and others, right? So I mean,
you're about the same age as me, Mike.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to bands like Bauhaus and Joy Division and
absolutely.
New Order and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
They were a little bit techno back in the day.
Yeah,
dance music,
that's what I listened to.
Alternative. Do you know where the names for those came from?
No.
Bauhaus was a style of architecture that the Nazis used. Joy Division was the girls that they would recruit into the Nazi party, and when the soldiers came home on leave, would get fucked until they were pregnant.
Right. And
New Order, well, think real hard and you can come up with what New Order means. They named themselves after these saints, not because they believed in them. The bands didn't believe in them. The bands were using them and doing things that were completely the opposite of what Nazis would like. They were gay. They were musicians. They put on good stage shows. You know, a couple of the people from several of these bands went on to become Erasure.
Yeah, Erasure is good. All right, man. I'm gonna end the call. I'm gonna actually gotta take a break. I'm tired. I've been up. I only got like 4 hours sleep. I was coding all night. I got up at 5. It's already 10. I need to run to the bank, get some shit done.
Hey,
So I appreciate you calling in.
I love your content, and when we get done whacking Nazis, I like watching you go and catch bees or whack weeds or drive up and down the coast and eat fishy or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
You know, I
Thanks.
like following you just because you have an interesting life.
Thank you, sir.
And
I appreciate it.
Once in a while, we get to whack Nazis while we're doing it.
That's right. That sounds good. All right, Ed. Thanks for calling in, brother. Take care.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, I'm gonna take off here. It looks like it's calmed down. I need a power nap. All right, thanks, Cal. I'm a fat Hanson. My son's talking about Hanson. Oh my God, my 18-year-old. He's got all these muscles. He's working out. He's curling 40 kilos now. He's getting himself big. That's Hanson. I went through that stage when I wasn't 18. I was a little bit older. So all he cares about is having that. Awesome. That's Donald Trump. These are posters in DC. I saw a video and the woman was putting up a poster in the video, so I did a screen capture. You know, that's what you can see. I'd love to have one of those posters, dude. Those posters are amazing. You know, street artists are the best. These artists are amazing. They are fucking plastering the Nazi shit. Schittler. Fucking Schittler. Oh my God. But I'm gonna take a power nap. I'm gonna sign off here. I've been working on the AI stuff. I'm gonna take a power nap. And then I'll be back on. I'll be back on a little bit. I got to run to the bank, so I'm just going to take like a 20-30 minute power nap and I'll be back on. I just feel like when my body just says sleep, I sleep, you know. I listen to my body. My body right now is saying just roll back, fucking go to sleep, and I need to do it. So I need to listen. I listen to my body. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I was really interested. I'm glad you brought up that letter thing. I mean, it was pretty obvious when he says, I hope every day. But the breaking down of that letter, that was so much. And no one's really reported on that, have they? You know, that is so much, you know, a pedo message to another pedo fucking message. Capturing an event, right? An event. Someone should do that. Someone specific big should do that to invite a fucking lawsuit, right? They should fucking, you know, make it mainstream. Some big person with millions of views, or maybe like Dave Newsom. And let me break down this pedo letter, you know, and just like break it down like that. Get Trump so fucking incensed. Have him sue him, and great, because then you've got what's called discovery. You got to sit down and answer all these questions about Katie Johnson. I know. Every day a wonderful secret. Fucking shithead. Schittler. All right, guys. I'll be on later. Take care.